WOLD, Woodbridge, New Jersey.
Story Untold with PJ Noce. Got a request for PJ? Check in to the doo-wop hotline at 732-638-9669. That's 732-638-9669. This is Story Untold with your host, PJ Noce.
Frank Gary, a song from 1961 that was a decent-sized hit, and it's rarely heard on the radio today. That's called Lullaby of Love. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Story Untold. This is PJ Noce, and if you have any requests or dedications, the doo-wop hotline is 732-638-9669. Again, that's 732-638-9669, or you can email me at pj@storyuntoldshow.com. Again, that's pj@storyuntoldshow.com.
This lonely room.
1962, a Philly boy named Frankie Love on the La Rosa record label. That's called First Star. We're going to go back to 1957 now. This is for Darlene in Conifer, Colorado. It's by the Crests, and it's on New York City's own Joyce record label. This is called Sweetest One. Dion and the Belmonts doing a nice job on Sinatra's All the Things You Are. Going out to Joe Shakatano in Woodbridge, New Jersey. And we've got another one for Joe now. This is by Billy and the Essentials.
Playing the songs that bring back one great memory after another. This is Story Untold with PJ Noce.
The Velvetones, Love Her So. That's from the collection of Charles Casper in Bell Vernon, Pennsylvania. And this next one is as well. Really nice tune from 1962 by the Stompers on the Landa record label. And this is called Foolish One.
I've cried all my tears, dear.
It's a nice record, isn't it? The Young Tones, Could I Come Over? From what I understand, we've had calls from like the Passions and the Channels and the Belmonts and two other groups tonight who are listening. And evidently Freddie of the Belmonts said to one of the Passions before they got together in this party tonight, you know, both groups together, I tell you what, man, Freddie calls and he says, you get a nickel. And he says, I'll get my friends and we'll get a dime, because we had more big records than you guys did. And we'll get together and buy ourselves some wine.
You get a nickel, I'll get a dime.
Yeah, is that Sandran laying there in front of the store letting cars run over it? You're right, and that's just one more way that Wilcoxon & Sons in Kennett prove that Sandran is the floor covering that lasts 3 to 5 times longer than old-fashioned linoleum. You see, ladies, for this special Sandran Day, Wilcoxon & Sons is displaying over 20 different patterns of genuine Sandran. On Sandran Day, Friday, July 10th, at Wilcoxon & Sons in Kennett. It's the store with Sandran Stagecoach in front.
WOLD, the best oldies for your weekend. 1079 WOLD.
Ronnie Mitchell on the Blue Cat record label with Having a Party. And speaking of people named Ronnie and parties, here's Ronnie I, a snippet of the R&B party, 1996.
Right now, I'd like to play another request, and we get some great ones tonight. For Richie and Marion of Forest Hills, here's the very last release on the Red Robin record label in 1956. Tony, this was, the Sequins were the last release. You know what's going to be the next release on Red Robin?
The next release?
Yeah, Don't Fall in Love, the Sequins was the very last release in 56. Robert Coleman on lead. But you know what he had scheduled? He had scheduled for the next release? The channel's right. The closer you are, and he said, we're going to kill the Red Robin label, and I'm going to start my Whirling Disc label, or else the closer you are would have been on Red Robin. The last on Red Robin, one of the best on Red Robin. There's a lot of great, great records on Red Robin. I want to get my foot in my mouth. Well, this is a great one. The Sequins and Don't Fall in Love.
What shall I do? What shall I do?
Let's flip it over. Here are the Sequins. Why don't you treat me right? Earl Lewis and the Channels with Now You Know. That was supposed to be on the Red Robin record label, but Bobby Robinson ended up stopping the Red Robin label and starting his Whirlin' Disc label, and that was the first release on Whirlin' Disc. And then, of course, in the early 60s, it was pressed up again on the Port record label, which was really beautiful. You might remember it, the white and blue scheme with the picture of the boat on top. One of the prettiest record labels, in my opinion. Now, of course, this was the first release on the Whirlin' Disc label, and here is the big hit that was on the A side.
Got a request or dedication? Send PJ an email now at pj@storyuntoldshow.com. That's pj@storyuntoldshow.com. This is Story Untold with your host, PJ Noce.
"1954 By the Candlelight." Those are the Cherokees out of Philadelphia. Absolutely gorgeous record. And that was going out to Christine Alvarez in Far Rockaway. This is Story Untold, and you can check out StoryUntoldShow.com for more information. Once again, that is StoryUntoldShow.com. And now for Pepsi in the Bronx, the Earthquakes with This Is Really Real.
Request or dedication? Send PJ an email now at pj@storyuntoldshow.com. That's pj@storyuntoldshow.com. You're listening to Story Untold, where doo-wop fans unite.
Going out to Pepsi in the Bronx, the Earthquakes, and now for Tony in Staten Island.
Most music every hour. Oldies 107.9 WOLD. Central Jersey's home for doo-wop is Oldies 107.9 WOLD LP Woodbridge. WOLD's weekly celebration of the great music of the late 50s and early 60s. This is Story Untold with PJ Noce on Oldies 107.9 WOLD.
Good instrumental by Lee Allen and his band from 1956 on the Aladdin record label. That's called Rockin' at Cosmos, and that's from the collection of Phil Gutkowski. As a matter of fact, every record you're going to hear this hour is from Phil's collection, and a lot of these are going to be from 78 RPM discs like that one was. This next tune on the Imperial record label is from also 1956, A1 in My Heart, Chuck Carbo and the Spiders. 1954 on the Lloyd's record label, Forget It by the Larks, from the collection of Phil Gutkowski of Queens, New York. Another fine 78 RPM disc. And if you'd ever like to take control of Story Untold for an hour, all you'd have to do is send me a list of about 20 songs from the years of roughly 53 to about 1964. And you can send your list over to pj@storyuntoldshow.com. Again, that's pj@storyuntoldshow.com. And today, not only are we playing Phil's list, but we're actually using his records as well. And we're going to go to the year of 1951 now by a group called the Ravens on the OK record label. Another 78 RPM disc, courtesy of Phil Gutkowski. The Ravens with Everything But You.
Story Untold with PJ Noce. Got a request for PJ? Check in to the doo-wop hotline at 732-638-9669. That's 732-638-9669. This is Story Untold with your host, PJ Noce.
Wow, what a vocal. That's Winnie Brown and her boyfriends with Be Anything, Be Mine. 1952 on another beautiful sounding 78 RPM disc sent over by Phil Gutkowski in Queens. And if you'd ever like to take over the show, just send me a list. About 20 songs. My email's pj@storyuntoldshow.com. You don't have to actually send me the records, just a list is fine, and I'll get the music for you. And now we've got Moose Jackson with Nosy Joe from 1952 on the King label.
Dig that nose.
Songs that truly stand the test of time. This is Story Untold, the weekly celebration of group harmony and the roots of rock and roll with PJ Noce.
Wow, Phil, you did it to me there. The Crickets for You I Have Eyes from 1952. Those are the Checkers from 1954 with House with No Windows. And now we've got Ray Frazier and the Monterey's with Days.
WOLD. WOLD.
1952 on the Federal record label, The Royals, a group who later became the Midnighters, and that's I Feel So Blue, yet another great 78 RPM from the collection of Phil Gutkowski of Queens. And now we've got a 45 RPM, James Brown and the Fabulous Flames from 1959, also on the Federal record label, It Was You.
'Missed the show? Why not catch a rebroadcast on the Story Untold Radio Network? Find out more details online at StoryUntoldShow.com.
I'm a fool.
1956 on the Money label, a very pretty song by Gaynell Hodge with the Turks, I'm a Fool, from the collection of Phil Gutkowski in Queens, New York. This has been a fine hour of music that Phil has furnished for us. Thank you very much for letting us use your records. And the next one from Phil's collection is by the Flamingos, one of their checker sides. It's not played very often. 1955. This is called When. That's some love music there from 1959 on the VJ label, The Spaniels, with these three words. Now we're going to play the 1962 version of a song originally released in the late 40s by Sonny Till and the Orioles. This is from their Charlie Parker LP, yet again from the collection of Phil Gutkowski in Queens. It's Too Soon to Know. 1962, a soulful sound by the Shepherds on the Abner record label. That's Loving You, yet another great sound from the collection of Phil Gutkowski in Queens. We've got about enough time for three more songs from Phil's great collection. Here's a nice tune out of Philly by the Varnells. Now, this group is also known as the Vernals. And this is from 1961 on the Arnold record label. It's called Who Created Love. 1963, the Delmars on the ABC Paramount record label. That's called You Know. And we're going to spin one more great record from Phil Gutkowski's collection. A really nice guy named Billy Vera is up now, backed up by the contrasts. My Heart Cries, 1962.
Most music every hour. Oldies 1079 WOLD.
WOLD is grateful for the support of real
work. Street corner sounds around the clock and for 3 full hours every Sunday night. This is Story Untold with PJ Noce on Oldies 1079 WOLD LP Woodbridge, Central Jersey's home for doo-wop.
That's called Love, I'm So Glad I Found You. Early tune by the wonderful, wonderful Spinners. And that's also from the collection of Phil Gudkowski. Even though his hour is over, I just had to play the last 2 songs that he sent over because they are so great. And now we've got an early one by the OJs, 1963, and this features Jimmy Norman on lead. This is a monster, so if you haven't heard this before, hold on to your hat. This is called Love is Wonderful. Going out to Izzy in West Philly from her boyfriend, Tommy D. That's a great song by the Fascinators. It's called Bells of My Heart. UR Copy Records, a very rare 78 from the collection of Mark Goldfarb down there in Florida. Mark in Rocky Mount, Virginia requested Go Cry on Somebody Else's Shoulder, which is from 1966 by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. And you know, Frank really loved the 50s and early 60s music. As a matter of fact, he wrote a song that you might remember by the Penguins called Memories of El Monte, and he produced a lot of group harmony records. I believe he was the producer of the Heartbreakers. I know he played rhythm guitar on that, and he was actually on a lot of other stuff too, so there's no doubt that he loved the music. And I'm going to let Gus Gossert actually explain Frank Zappa and his love for this music.
There is a recording artist who I have the most admirable respect for. His name is Frank Zappa, and he has a group, the Mothers of Invention, which change radically like every week. You never know who's going to be with them. But they put an album out quite some time ago, which was called Reuben and the Jets, which was a takeoff from the 50s sound. Every record, you know, in the thing is a takeoff from the 50s sound. And a lot of people took the record as being a put down of the 50s music, but actually it wasn't. When I was working in San Francisco at a station, I did an oldie show there also on the weekends, aside from during the week doing the regular thing. And when Zappa was in town, he would stop by, and he has probably one of the greatest oldies collections of all time. He would bring like 2 little boxes of records, and we would sit there for 3 or 4 hours playing Zappa's oldie records, you know, and he would rap it, I would rap it, and we'd get into a whole thing. So I know that he's for real as far as oldies are concerned. And when they released Reuben and the Jets, on the back of it, they have a picture of Frank when he was in high school, you know, and it's just insane. And there's a story here that I want to read for you. It's called The Story of Reuben and the Jets. And they say, Reuben Sano was 19 when he quit the group to work on his car. He had just saved up enough money to buy a 53 Nash and 4 gallons of gray primer. And his girlfriend said he would leave him forever if he didn't quit playing in the band and fix up his car so they could go to the drive-in and make out. Now, there were already 11 other guys in the band, so when he quit, nobody really missed him except for his car when they had to go to rehearsal or play for a battle of the bands at the American Legion post in Chino. They're still good friends even today. Now, the other guys in the band, Nacho, Louie, Panda, and Choi, still come over to Reuben's house on Tuesday or Wednesdays to listen to his collection of Richie Valens records, or also Eddie My Love. Generally speaking, they save Cherry Pie and Work with Manny till the late part of the evening so they can have something to hum on the way home to Burger Lane. Now, some of them continue to hum or pop their fingers even the next day while they're working in the car wash. Now that they've gotten their big break in show business, each one of the main guys in the group voted at the band meeting to keep the name Reuben and the Jets, not only because it sounds real fine and gives it class, but also because it makes it real sharp. Now, Reuben even likes it too, and he thinks it's real sharp. And all the guys in the band hope that they are sick and tired, like they are of all this crazy far-out music of some of the bands, you know, the music they're playing today. And they hope you are sick and tired of it, that you're ready for their real sharp style of music. And they are socially acceptable to young men who only want to sing about their girlfriends. Now, they want everybody to start dancing close back together again, like 1955, because they know that people need to love and also want to hold each other. Even holding hands is okay to them. and they want you to hold hands and dance the bop and fall in love in their music. One of the main guys in the band was telling me a couple weeks ago when we were talking about how only half the guys in the band ever showed up at rehearsals most of the time. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention from the album Reuben and the Jets. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention from Reuben and the Jets. And along with Zappa's affinity and grassroots foundation in like the 50s rock and roll era, it's even evident like on his first album, which was called The Mothers of Invention Freak Out, which was a freaky album, people. It really, really was. But even on that album, he found time to put in a few tracks which depicted the 1950s rock and roll style.
A year ago today.
And we went out to get our Coca-Cola.
Story Untold with PJ Noce. Got a request for PJ? Check in to the doo-wop hotline at 732-638-9669. That's 732-638-9669. This is Story Untold with your host, PJ Noce.
Joe in Keensburg wanted to dedicate that one to my father, who passed away a few weeks ago. I Believe by the Earls. And now from 1962, here are the composers with I Had a Dream.
I had a dream last night. W-O-L-D, W-O-L-D.
Nice tune on the Fire record label going out to John Nieves. That's called Tears from My Eyes. It's by the Tellers. We've got a couple of nice tunes going out to Val from the Poconos. The first one is on the Lost Tonight record label. It's by the Veltones, and this is called A Fool Was I.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
The Dell Knights, a previously unreleased track called Madly, and that's out to Val in the Poconos. Charles Crawford in Silver Spring, Maryland requested one of my favorites. Now, I'm sure you remember the Jarmel song A Little Bit of Soap on the Laurie label. Here's The Other Side.
Got a request or dedication? Send PJ an email now at pj@storyuntoldshow.com. That's pj@storyuntoldshow.com. This is Story Untold with your host, PJ Noce.
Boom, 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 boom.
Those are the Suburbans with The Alphabet of Love, and that's going out to Vito in Old Bridge, New Jersey. And here's one for Gene Malloy in Edison. This is a really great tune by a group called the Mandells. Darling, I'm Home.
You know I turned back the calendar.
Going out to Big Mike from South Plainfield. That is a beautiful song by the Flamingos on the Checker label. It's called A Kiss from Your Lips. We've only got about enough time for two more songs. Again, the show is called Story Untold. If you'd like more information, our web address is storyuntoldshow.com. And now for Bill Malloy, we've got Donnie Elbert with Believe It or Not. Well, everybody, it is that time for Story Untold to come to an end. But we will be back, same station, same time, next week. I do hope you can join us again. For more information about where you can hear the show and at what times, you can visit StoryUntoldShow.com. Take care, everybody. I hope you can tune in again next week.
Real Oldies Variety. Oldies 1079 WOLD.